My Mug, episode 296, Throat is Better, on Monday the 14th of July 2014. I am your host Stephen Layton. Welcome to In My Mug, and welcome to the stonkingly good news. Stonkingly good because we have lots of news. So we have Santa Patrona is back on the site. I reckon we will see the washed version on In My Mug at some point in the future, but maybe only the washed one. I don't think we'll see the natural and the pump natural, although a little bit of a caveat that, like, if things run out and stuff, then we might. But at this point, I don't have any plans to do that one as those other two as In My Mug. But Santa Patrona being back is awesome news. And episode 299 I talked about last week is going to be a massive, massive coffee. But also, episode 301 is going to be mammoth. It's going to be recorded live at Brew Lab in Edinburgh. So if you're in that area, it's going to be Sunday the 3rd of August. It's going to be a little bit before because I'm off to Bolivia and Colombia the week after. So this is perfect that we can get that one recorded. And going to be speaking at Brew Lab as well. I'm going to be doing a presentation about the coffee that it's from. And it is a super special lot for 301 that will only be on the site for a week and will cost you lots and lots of money. So you definitely want to be part of that. And now, not really news, but I want to say a little thank you. Thank you to Sarah from Cafe Harlequin Stroke the Attic for my lovely, lovely t-shirt, which was made for the Tour de France that was passing through York on Sunday. Sunday just gone this is Sunday 2 weeks ago by the time this comes out. But Sarah made these great shirts for the attic for the thing, and I went and did a special tasting there and had a really, really good weekend. Everybody looked after me. But thank you, Sarah. I love my t-shirt. It's very, very cool. Thank you. And time to welcome a new member of staff. We have a new member of staff started with us this week. Some of you may remember him from In My Mug questions that he's answered and think. It's Gary Dyke. I sometimes called him Greg. So I'm having to try and stop doing that, but Gary has made the jump from customer to working with us. We are very excited and very, very pleased to have Techno Gary on. So yes, Techno Gary, don't ask why, we have two Garys. He's Techno Gary, but yeah, I'm sure you all just want to say hi to Techno Gary. And that was the wonderful news. So moving on, we should really go and look at Focus On, and this week I'm going to look at smallholders, and particularly smallholders in Ethiopia. So this week's coffee comes from 500 smallholders. This is not unusual in Ethiopia, but it really kind of works in Ethiopia. It's the only way you really can do it. It's not unusual for a grower to have as little as 200 trees, and that's going to produce around 200-300 pounds of coffee on a good year. After processing, you're looking at 1, maybe 2 bags if you're very, very lucky. But nobody is going to buy a lot that is 1-2 bags from a very small garden grower. You know, how they're going to mill it, export it, all the rest of it. So there are men in Ethiopia that sit in tents at the end of the day and buy the cherries from people that they picked. They'll be given a little chit of paper that they can take to the bank from the weight of their coffee to turn into money. The man in the tent is normally from the washing stations from around the area, and he will take the cherries to the washing station, or he'll take them and sell them to the washing station, and then they become Chelelektu, Guji, Arisha. Now normally they will sell to the closest washing station to where they are, so that's why you end up with certain coffees from certain regions tasting in a particular way. But there is nothing to stop somebody from Arisha going to the Guji mill or whatever. So this is what makes it really hard to have lots of provenance on the coffee and to know where they've come from. So all of the coffee has to be cupped and judged on the lot that comes through. I've tasted, this week's coffee is Chelelektu. Maybe my throat isn't perfect. And I've tasted some Chelelektus I love and some I really, really don't like. And this is because so many people are involved in the processing of them, picking and all the rest of that lot. So you really have to cup to find those amazing, amazing coffees. Makes it a lot harder. And that's what makes Ethiopia pretty unique. And that was Focus On. So it's an interesting way of buying coffee, and I think that's what makes Ethiopia so interesting. This is another washed Yirgacheffe we've got this week from the range, and this one is showing the diversity of those tiny lots, those diversity of those different days pickings, different plant stocks, all of those things that go into making a great coffee. As I said, buying from Ethiopia is always a challenge. It's always about the cupping table. It's cupping, tasting. Lots of the coffees are still sold through the Ethiopian Commodity Exchange, and at that point, all they have is a name on them. There isn't any, like it will say Ethiopian Yirgacheffe. It takes a little bit of work to work out where they've come from, which washing station they've come from, stuff like that. But you can play detective on them. You can work out who's selling on certain days, and that's where the clues for this one have come from. As I said already, this has come from a 500 smallholder group who have handpicked the cherries. Range of height is about 1680 metres, 1,680 metres, up to 2,000 metres. Most of it coming between 1850 and 2000. Processed at the Chelelektu mill, which is located in the Kachere zone, just outside the town of Chelelektu, and it is a super unique cut profile. When you taste it, it is that lemony zing that you just get from a really well processed Yirgacheffe, and I think you're going to love this one. So we should do the numbers. So the region is Yirgacheffe. It's from the Chelelektu mill in the Kachere zone. The varietals, well, there's that many people involved in this, in the smallholder. It's a variety of heirloom varietals, and that's as much information as we have. It is fully washed, dried on raised beds. The Chelelektu mill dry all of their coffee on raised African beds, and that altitude is 1680 right up to 2000 metres. So we should stop talking and we should listen to Roland and his very daft fact of the week.
Welcome to Techno Gary. What does techno mean though? Anyway, that's not my daft fact. My daft fact of the week is Ethiopia is the birthplace of coffee. All coffee can be traced back to the original plants in Ethiopia. But that Kaldi story, it's a load of old tripe.
So the Kaldi story that Roland is talking about there is Kaldi the goat herder, where they allegedly found coffee by, he saw the goats eating the cherries on the tree and was like, oh look, they look full of caffeine, and then he tried them and didn't like them, so threw them in the fire, and then they cracked, and then he made a drink out of them, and he realised he could stay awake all night. And it is a load of old tripe. For once, me and Roland definitely agreeing on that one. So we should go and do the funky map bit. Hello! Blaming at you again, but I won't drone on about the drone again this week. We'll just go up and away, and we'll go up to our lovely place that is Great Britain. And at this point we normally go to the left, but we're not. We're going down and slightly to the right, and we're going to the birthplace of coffee, the home of coffee. We're going to Africa, and specifically down to the real birthplace of coffee, which is down into Ethiopia. So you can see at the top there you got Harar. That's a growing region that we haven't bought from for a while because we just haven't seen anything good. We're always keen on the stuff lower down. And here's the Steve's daft fact. Ethiopia has the largest per capita density of cattle in Africa. Yeah, so more cows than somewhere that has a lot of cows. Anyway, let's get down into the detail, and mainly into the Yirgacheffe region. Come on, map, catch up with me here. You can do it. So that is the town of Yirgacheffe, which there are numerous pictures of me hugging a sign. Just search the internet for idiot hugging a sign. But we're looking at Chelelektu, and you can see that it's a tiny village. It really is super small. We would not mention this in like Stafford. It would be like going to Wheaton Aston or somewhere like that. And do you know where Wheaton Aston is? No, but we know where Chelelektu is because they have delicious tasting coffee, and that definitely helps us with selling this. The washing station is just on the outskirts of the town there, yeah, that wasn't too bad an Ethiopian map bit. And I know that is going to be the worst map bit we've done in a while because Africa sucks. Africa is so difficult to get any, you know, you're looking at a town or you're looking at a region and not necessarily getting so much from it, but I hope you still enjoyed it. Anyway, we should go back in time, and we should go back to last weekend and the Tour de France being in York, and let's go taste this with the team at Harlequin in the attic, and yeah, let's see what they think of it too. Okay, so we're back, and we're back here in York in the attic. I'm joined by special guests. He's been on before. but this is
I don't
Gordon.
remember.
Yeah, he's been on a couple of times. He's been on it more than I have. So this is Gordon Howell, this is Marie.
Hello.
Say hello, Marie. Marie
Hello.
hasn't been on.
I
See,
haven't
Marie
been
is the better half of
Absolutely.
Cafe Harlequin here in York.
She's the face of the business.
So
for
should we-
obvious
You're the
reasons.
face and the worker.
And the feet, and the hands, and everything
She
else.
does everything, mate.
Should we
Everything.
try this espresso first, and then we'll talk more about the shop, because I want to talk about it here a little bit. So the espresso we're going to taste is the Craftworks, which is the guest blend for this this month. Yeah, and it's a blend of Shikizu 70%. Is it
30? The
Sorry,
other.
30, and El Salvador Lafani 70%. I knew it was one way round. You don't normally have blends here, do you? So
No, we work. We have 2 floors. The Harlequin downstairs takes a custom blend and always has, whereas upstairs we allow you guys to send us what's in season, what you've got available, and we call it revolver by the nature that it changes every time we order it. And then what we have is the EK as the other grinder that then we
do you do a lot of
shop.
spice grinding here?
We love
Cardamom and pepper and
poppy seeds.
yeah,
All
excellent.
over poppy seeds.
In coffee jokes there, by
Yeah.
the way. The EK43 is a big
Somebody
grinder that I
actually,
hate.
first time it ever got used, I think somebody chucked some red.
No, it's black pepper.
Was it black
pepper? Yes,
Right,
yeah.
there
In
we
the
go.
Brick Championships, I got to use that lovely grinder badly.
Thanks,
Um,
mate.
So let's talk about this blend. So it's super sweet to start off. The El Salvador is so dominant in there, isn't it?
It is, and that gives it that backbone of that really kind of syrupy dark chocolate notes, a little bit of stone fruit in there, but really dark chocolate. And Lafani for us was in our first ever blend, like six years ago.
Yeah,
So
Lafani
the
has
fact
a
that it's in
history,
here,
yeah.
you know, it has a history with us, so it's an amazing coffee. But the kind of like acidity kicks in from the Ethiopian.
I was going to say, I mean, with the acidity, it kind of really kind of comes through, doesn't it? And that Ethiopian really helps lift it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does indeed.
So they're chocolate limey kind of.
Yeah. No, I'm a big fan of that Shikizu this year. It's been delicious and so different to last year's as well. That limey zestiness does come through, but it's so dominant on the sweet.
Yeah.
And talking of Ethiopians, we're going to segue into the Ethiopian we're going to taste now.
Yeah.
You can still buy this on the site, by the way. It is still there, so go buy it.
It's delicious.
Yes, it is wholeheartedly endorsed by the Attic. So we're going to go straight on to another Ethiopian. So we've talked about it already, and we're drinking it now. But this is the Ethiopian Chelelektu. We had Chelelektu last year as well, and this is one that hasn't changed so much. This for me, I'm really looking forward to it as brewed. We're not doing espresso with it. We're all going to have to share as well. We should have ladies first.
Ladies first.
Yes,
Okay,
because I am
thank you.
also full of cold still, so I don't want anybody to catch my dirty.
Did you go
cold
out
jobs.
last night? Do anything?
May have gone out last night and drunk a little bit of alcohol as well.
Candle wax.
There was some candle wax I drank as well, which wasn't very nice. We shan't talk about that. I can't help it if I'm supporting Costa Rica in the World Cup and losing bets, can I?
It was very tense.
It was very tense.
And also very funny.
So, really different after the blend. I mean, it's such a gear change from that sweet, thick body to something that's much thinner.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The body, I think, is that the texture on this. Obviously, it's an espresso, but you know, it's chewy, syrupy.
Yes.
Whereas this is a little bit more elegant.
Yes, yeah. There's a little bit more like tea notes going on
yeah.
almost. And I hate it when my coffee tastes like tea because I want it to taste like coffee, but. There's super lemon in there. I mean, it's like I get real zesty, kind of clean,
it's
fresh.
clean.
Like a
It's
Darjeeling, you know,
yeah.
like a champagne of teas, because it has those qualities that we're talking about. That they are very clean, light, effervescent, a lovely balance, lovely acidity. That's a great brewed coffee.
So if you're not an Email subscriber and you want to taste this coffee, you can come and taste it here. Tell the people on the camera where you are, how they can find you. We'll have you. He talks too much. So you tell the people there how they can find Harlequin, where it is, and where they can find the Attic, and the difference between the two.
Okay, well, we're based in York, 2 Kill Square, which is right at the top of the shambles. I'm very sorry if you're distracted by the boys playing. We have 2 floors. We're above Ladbrokes, in between, next to Cafe Nero.
Next to Cafe Nero.
Yeah, we were here first. And
We were?
Yeah, first floor is Harlequin, which we said a slightly different menu. And the specialised coffee is in the Attic, which is open Thursday, Friday, Saturday from 12
Yeah. So downstairs does the most delicious sandwiches you've ever seen. The food here is always amazing, and the cake and like afternoon tea, it's perfect. But you can have delicious coffee as well. You just have to, can we have the coffee please? And they'll sort you the coffee.
Yeah.
Up here is the geek area, isn't it? This is the geek house.
Yeah. Well, it's quite nice. It's just, people can come in, have a little bit of a chat. It's a bit more relaxed than downstairs because usually it's very busy when people want to talk about coffee. Here it's slightly, if you come at different times during the day, it's not everybody comes in at lunchtime and wants lunch, they maybe just want a coffee, and we have a bit more time to talk about it.
And we're very much about embracing the customer in a soft way. We treat it like a whiskey bar.
Are you touching customers in a soft way?
I'm trying to.
The police have been informed.
But if you order a whiskey in Scotland, you embrace the bartender, you embrace their knowledge, and there's a quick communication and a conversation that's soft. And that's what we try and promote.
Kind of leads me on to what I wanted to say next. Was like, so you got some plans in the near future, the things. So you don't have to come here and have just coffee. There's beer, but you've got some plans. That are going to be coming through to expand that as well.
Yeah, very, very much so. We're what we do with coffee, which is allowing the product to speak, where it comes from, etc., etc. We're doing that with gin and whiskey and wine, and also the food. So it's going to evolve into if you want to come out and embrace wonderful products.
It's a lot about embracing and touching, isn't he?
I do.
Yeah,
like,
he does.
He's in touch with his feminine side.
He is.
Embrace is a great word. Crap band, but great word.
Not in Yorkshire, they're not. No, that's bad for you.
So yeah, we in a comfortable environment, great service, great products. That's it. Simple.
Yeah. Well, we had a great evening last night with some of your customers where we did a little bit of a coffee tasting, then we did a beer tasting, then we did a whiskey tasting, then we drank some candle wax. Tour de France has come through town today as well.
It's been a great
weekend, and we thank you very much for coming.
Oh, it's been awesome. And also, like, York's such a cool place to visit. If you haven't been here, you should. It's kind of really cool. And great shops, great bars, restaurants.
There's other great coffee shops as well. So it's not just us. We have two, but there's other great places in town. Wonderful people doing wonderful things.
And so much better than the first time I came to York, like for coffee. It's so much better, and it's
cool.
Getting better all the time and everything. And it's really good to see. And you guys have driven that. You guys have been the pioneers in the pioneers in York.
The grandparents of coffee in York.
You are the mummy and daddy of coffee in York.
I feel awesome.
Yes. And on that wonderful way to end it, thank you very much for joining me.
Pleasure as always.
Thank you very much for your hospitality. Thank you for joining us also. And do remember, life is definitely too short for bad coffee.